watching me from the depths below. A haunted grave where shadows grow. Deadpit is watching me with eyes so cold. They're watching me now.
Howdy everyone to episode 14 of DEADPIT is Watching. We review all of the new and upcoming movies that are fit to review. I am Uncle Bill.
And I am the creepy Kentuckian, if you will, boys. We got the weirdest array of releases ever. This is the weirdest group of movies that you would ever hear us talk about on the show.
It's eclectic. That's the word I'm going to use. Very eclectic evening of DEADPIT is Watching.
Indeed. It's very eclectic.
It's also very shitty, but we'll talk about that later.
Not all of them. I mean,
No.
there's some good ones here.
No, they're not all shitty, but I'm like, good Lord.
What we're going to do is, because a lot of people may not be fans of comedy films, because there's some people out there that, I mean, even if you're a DEADPIT fan, which you should be a fan of comedy too, because we make fun of everything. We laugh at everything and everybody, you know, but some people don't have a sense of humor, right?
No, a lot of people in this community,
let's say
community loosely, yeah.
At least the first half of this show is featuring a ton of comedy releases from Kino Lorber that they come out with. I think they're all in 4K as well, which is even more hilarious. So we're going to hit it with the comedies first on this episode. But man, we've got a review later on that you'll definitely want to stick around for. It's a special patron requested review. And it took that to make us finally watch it, man. It did. We were threatening it for years. But, or for at least a year, whenever it came out, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
The Keep. So that's going to be the special big review, I guess, towards the end of the show. People can look forward to. We didn't have enough balls to go man to man, so we just watched The Keep and fuck. Oh.
Yeah, I can't wait to talk about it.
Oh, Lord. Oh, God. But want to kick it off with a comedy review, and I want to do these chronologically, boys, for me, and we'll go back and forth. And this is some funny shit that we're actually reviewing this movie, because this is a film that, you know, either of these movies, which I'm a fan of both of these movies, but it had been a while since I had seen the sequel. And this is a 4K UHD release from Kino Lorber, part of their Studio Classics line. Wayne's World 2 with Mike Myers and Dana Carvey. You'll laugh again. You'll cry again. You'll hurl again. And this surprised me, Uncle Bill. Offhand, what year would you think that this movie came out? Just without thinking about it too much.
93.
Well, you're right. It was 93. For some reason, I was thinking it was like a couple of years later, like 95, 94, 95. But the first Wayne's World movie came out in early 92. This came out in late 93. So this was pretty rushed for a studio movie. But
you know what's weird about that, too, for me? And I don't know why this is, but I've always thought this. I always thought that, like, Dana Carvey looked so much older in the second film than he does in the first film. And it's only like, what, a year, maybe a little bit over a year later?
Yeah, I mean, probably about a year from filming, I would guess. And I didn't notice that. But, and we'll talk about the movie, though, the plot of the movie. So, essentially, I mean, they got a director. I think he was mainly doing TV films and hasn't done a whole lot of other stuff. What was the guy's name? Steven Surgic. I think he still does a lot of TV movies, but TV shows and stuff. But essentially what they wanted to do with Wayne's World 2 is quickly get a sequel out, make it as much like the first movie as they possibly could. And they did that, man. This is a carbon copy, really, of the first film, but it's just not as good. The jokes aren't as good. The soundtrack isn't nearly as good. The whole story of Wayne's World 2 is Wayne is visited in his dreams by Jim Morrison and a half-naked Indian guy in a desert. And he gives Wayne the idea to put on his own concert in his hometown or whatever. And this concert is Wayne stock, right? So, that's as much of a plot as you get in this movie. I mean, there's another producer that's trying to, separate Cassandra and Wayne and, get in with that, which
Yeah.
I don't have it. Man, Tia Carrera or whatever the hell her name was. Good Lord, around this time. Woo! Oh, so I could believe that. Anybody that's be within arm's reach of her be going after her. But, yeah, I mean, it's the same old song, just a different dance, right? Aerosmith is the musical act in this one instead of Alice Cooper.
Have I ever told you that I hate Aerosmith?
You do, really? I don't hate Aerosmith.
I fucking hate Aerosmith, man. Like, that's just one band that I can't listen to stuff. I don't like their old stuff anymore. I definitely don't like their like 90s stuff. Remember when they did the 90s stuff and it was all just like the same song, like 3 or 4 different times? You had Crazy and Crying, and like there was 1 or 2 Living on the Edge, and they all sounded exactly the fucking same.
Well, that was their like kind of big MTV album, or
Yeah,
whatever, when MTV
that was their
and music videos
Well, they had actually 2 comebacks. So they had in the 80s they had Pump, which had like Dude Looks Like a Lady.
Wasn't Permanent Vacation was a pretty big album too, wasn't it?
That
Wasn't that in the
that might
80s?
be it too.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then like so they had like Ragdoll and Dude Looks Like, and all like Loving an Elevator, those kind of songs.
Doodle-doodle-doodle.
And then the 90s is when they had all that crap with that introduced Liv Tyler. Like in those videos, and Alicia Silverstone was in them and all that shit.
Right.
And that got really popular, and they had that like segment or whatever, and they got popular again. But I always hated all that stuff. I just wanted to bring that up. But
This was at the peak of that MTV popularity, though.
Yes.
So this is the same year, around the same time that Get a Grip album was out. And it's amazing how much younger all those guys look as opposed to now. I mean, Steve Tyler, he pretty much looked like somebody's grandma at this point. Like, I don't know.
really does.
Or great-grandma, I guess he's old enough to be a great-grandma.
But I have watched this movie countless times on cable back in the day, and I really like some parts of it. Like, this is also the one too where like Wayne meets her dad,
James Hong,
and he's
who's
doing
still
the whole
alive.
like, yeah.
They did
He's
the
still
whole
alive.
kung fu
Yeah.
theater thing. Yeah.
And this is the one with the roadie where they have to find the roadie and everything, and he's like this old Aussie like guy that's like talking about being roadie for all these different bands.
as stereotypical as he possibly could.
Yeah.
Right.
He's got that monologue where he talks about all that shit, which is great. I always kind of like this movie, even though I completely think it's a pretty bad movie. And one of the things they do in this movie that I fucking hated too, they always do this in sequels and sometimes like later on in film franchises, and I always cringe, is when they give like the other person like a love interest. So in this one, it was Kim Basinger was like the love interest.
Do you remember what her name was?
No. What was it?
Honey Hornay.
Honey, of course. But that part was okay. It's when he gets the chick that looks exactly like him, but is like
Right.
a female. It's like, oh my God, that's the cringiest shit. And they're fucking
That is
dancing around.
bad. They're dancing like. And that was the girl from Wonder Years, the older, what was her name? I looked it up. I can't remember her name, but she was the older daughter in Wonder Years, and Olivia Diabo, I think was her name,
Ooh.
that played like the female. Yeah.
That'd be a killer name, Olivia Diablo.
Olivia Diablo. Dude, something else that I wanted to mention in here too, and I always forget to do this early on, a close-up shot of this. So this is a 4K, just to let people know. It's bizarre. I don't even know if the first movie's out in 4K yet, which I love the first movie, man. Like, I remember seeing that on my 12th birthday at the Strand Twin. Like, I have fond memories. That's one of the very few non-horror movies that I have fond memories of seeing at the theater. But watching this sequel, one thing that I was like, good freaking God, man. Holy shit. So Drew Barrymore has a very brief cameo in this, and she's playing like this Swedish secretary who's also kind of a nymphomaniac or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my, she is like peak level in this. I was like, holy shit.
Yep.
One of the hottest women that has ever lived around this time period. And I actually wrote that down here. I was like, good Lord. Right.
Yeah, around this era and around the time she had like Bad Girls and all that shit, like Jesus, man, like she was.
I think it was the same year, around the same time. Yeah, because she wasn't doing a whole lot of stuff because she was kind of, I don't know, recovering alcoholic or whatever issues that she had. She was trying to make her come back at that point. But this one's a lot of fun, man. If you don't own either, like I don't think I had this on anything at all. I had the first movie. This is a high recommendation for if you're a fan of the first movie. You'll definitely want to get the second one, but nowhere near as good as the original film. And it's interesting that they didn't release both of them. Like you would think that they would try to get the first and the second. Kino Lorber is part of their Studio Classics line here. And I always love that Kino uses the original artwork on there as well. It's the poster art, which is not super memorable, but I kind of remember it. And as far as extras and stuff on this, there's an audio commentary with the director, an extreme close-up featurette, theatrical trailers, and TV spots. This one's not the best thing of all time, but it's actually at least entertaining. It was an easy watch. Right, and there was a bunch of bands that showed up at the end, cameos, and all that good stuff. Of the MTV movies of the 90s, this is by far the best series, the Wayne's World, the Saturday Night Live movies, The Wayne's World movies are top-notch. Although, at some point in the near future, I hear we may be taking a look at Coneheads in 4K, man. Are you excited about that, Coneheads?
Not at all. I tell you the one I would like to see again, though, is The Lady of Man.
Ooh, baby, The Lady of Man. That was a few years later, maybe.
That is disgusting. Yeah, I would love to see that movie again. So, I guess we'll stay on the comedy route. What would come next, then? So if that was 93, if we're doing these chronologically, then what's next?
Do one of yours though, because you don't have as many.
That's true.
And I'll do a couple back to back here that were pretty close together.
So from 1997, the main thing I remember about this movie, I don't know why I had it. I don't know why I had it on at any time. I don't know why we were watching it, but at some point in time, we stared at this menu screen for close to an hour and just fucking like died laughing.
Man, like I was trying to think too, like I think that we were getting ready to do a drunken commentary over something.
Yeah.
And we were waiting on, I don't know if it was Jess or whoever it was to switch the DVDs. And was on that screen for probably 45 minutes or something like that. And we were just sitting there watching it. Eventually, we were so fucked up, we were just kind of into just watching the menu screen. Like, this menu screen is more entertaining than most movies we watch.
Yep.
But unfortunately, you're saying they didn't transfer the menu over. No.
Unfortunately, the menu screen for this is 1997's Mouse Hunt. Did not get ported over. So that's a shame. But this has got Nathan Lane and Lee Evans in it. And it's a classic, though, really. I'd like to say that I can't believe I'm going to say this next sentence, but this is a brand new HDR Dolby Vision Master from Paramount Pictures.
Wow.
A 4K scan of the 35 millimeter negative of Mouse Hunt.
Who would have ever thought?
Not me. So, if you ever this movie made a ton of money. That's what blew me away when I was looking.
Yeah, I remember that, man. That was it was a strange runaway at the box office. It did really, really well.
And I have honestly no idea why when I went back and watched it. But there's a weird time when comedies like this would do really, really well, I guess. But it made $130 million at the box office.
Yeah, the
then,
mid to late 90s was a weird time. Yeah, because they would have weird, just some of these one-off movies that would just explode for no real reason. I mean, I always kind of got a kick out of this movie just because it's so damn stupid.
It is.
But at least it is kind of entertaining, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's written. I didn't know this either until I started looking this up. It's written by Adam Rifkin, who did one of my favorite movies. I think it's probably one of your favorite movies too, with Detroit Rock City.
And The Invisible Maniac, which we're going to be reviewing.
Yeah. And I mean, he directed those movies. So he directed Detroit Rock City. He directed The Chase, the 1994 Charlie Sheen movie, which will never come out for some reason or anything. So it's just got a really interesting kind of background. It's got Christopher Walken in it. It's directed by Gore Verbinski and written by Adam Rifkin. Such a weird thing. But anyway, the plot of the movie.
Gore Verbinski did the Pirates of the Caribbean movies.
Yeah, I mean, the guy, yeah.
What didn't he do a horror movie? What horror movie did he do?
He's done.
Was it The Ring? Did he do The Ring?
He's done some.
US.
So he did. I'm looking up his filmography right now. He did. This was basically his first movie, Mouse Hunt. The Mexican was next. I think that was Brad Pitt. The Ring, 2002. Pirates of the Caribbean, Curse of the Black Pearl, The Weatherman. I don't know what he did. All the Pirates movies. Rango, that animated film, The Lone Ranger.
Wow.
That's probably what killed his career, was The Lone Ranger. To be honest,
but he had a bunch of big blockbuster movies though before that, so that's interesting.
So really, this movie, Mouse Hunt, is the start of this guy, his entire career, and making all those movies that
made his career. He may have not been able to make those other movies without the success of Mouse Hunt. Interesting.
So the story of Mouse Hunt, if there is a big story to it, is that
it's not that complex, I don't think.
It's really not that complex. So there is two main characters in the film are basically trying to figure out a way to get possession of this wheel that their father left them this fortune in. But in order to do that, they have to defeat in order to get to the wheel, which is in this big part of the mansion that's locked up, they have to defeat this tiny little fucking intelligent mouse, which is the whole plot of the movie, really. And
it's the whole movie. It's a cat and mouse game, but they're the cats. These two guys are.
Yeah, the two brothers are kind of I don't want to say it's Three Stooges. It's not really Three Stooges, but it's a black comedy, slapstick, almost like Home Alone. I think that might have been what they were trying to rip off more than anything. With a lot of the pratfalls and a lot of the stuff that happens to the brothers in the film that are trying to find the fortune. Yeah. And a lot of the stuff with the mouse and that, it's all kind of very Home Alone-ish, meets like Three Stooges kind of physical comedy. That's the crux of the whole movie. That's what like kind of propels the whole movie. And what makes it interesting is that it's written and directed by people that are like into like black comedy and things like that. So it's not really like a kids movie per se, although I think it did appeal to a lot of kids. I think that's the way that it made its majority of its money. But there is some like adult themes to the movie. I mean, quite a bit, really.
Yeah.
There's a whole backstory about like how they first they try to get like a cat, and then they hire an exterminator, and then like it keeps like outwitting and out playing and out
It's
surviving.
too smart. It's a
all
smart
these
little
things.
Mouse.
It's kind of like a lesser version of that Tales from the Dark Side episode.
Now,
without the gore.
it's been a while since I've seen this movie, of course, but I do remember, seem to recall, that there's certain shots where it was a CGI mouse.
There he is. That's a lot of the film, really.
Does that stick out like a sore thumb on this 4K?
Kinda. Yeah. I mean, not as bad as the menu screen sticks out, but like it's not great a lot of times. But yeah, I mean,
Yeah, because this 97 was not a good year for CGI in movies. It was a bad time, right?
Yeah.
Because, like, I would love, and, I just don't want to spend a whole lot of money on it, but I would love to see an HD, 4K UHD of American Werewolf in Paris and that terrible freaking CGI on it. I think there is one that came out, like, in Germany or something like that, but... yeah, around this time period, man, not the best when it comes to computer-generated stuff in movies. Unless they had a gigantic budget.
The budget was $38 million. That's pretty good, even for 97.
Yeah. Well, even for bigger budget movies, maybe it didn't work all the time.
Yeah,
but,
I don't think it worked very well then for anybody.
To be fair, though, I mean, they probably were thinking, yeah, this will get a brief theatrical run, and then it'll be on videotape, and it'll be fine. Like, it's not really going to be a big, even DVD at the time. Oh, it'll be fine for DVD.
Yeah, and as I sit here and try to think of like how I would explain this movie to somebody, I really don't know. Like, I really don't know how to like. This is a really weird film, even for that time period. And I guess around that time period, they were making a lot of throwback films to things like the Little Rascals and older kind of TV shows and things like that around that time. And this feels like an attempt to do that, but make it like, slapstick kind of humor as well. And kind of dark black humor mixed in with a lot of slapstick stuff. So I guess there's probably an audience for this still. And if you grew up watching this movie, like you probably really will like it. I mean, going back and watching it, I'm not positive I'd ever watched the whole thing before, watching it.
Really? You just watched the menu screen
I think
for
I
hours?
just watched the menu screen. I mean, I really love Adam Rifkin. I think that he's like one of the most underrated writers and directors that for the past 20, 30 years. I don't know. It's really more for a kid than it is for.
But it's like one of those movies that adults could watch along with kids. It's not totally, painful like fucking Barney or something like that.
No, I mean you could definitely go watch it and get something out of it. It is rated PG. I mean, so anybody could watch it.
Yeah, and I thought it was hilarious when I saw that this was coming out in 4K.
It's in 4K.
Funny.
Yeah.
Did you think when the 4K movies first started coming out, probably about 6 or 7 years ago now on disc, that it would get to a point to where, I mean, pretty much anything is fair game in 4K. Comedies.
No, I never thought that.
Mouse Hunt, Coneheads. Yeah. But
I never thought, too, that I would see. I mean, this movie does go to prove that Christopher Walken would star in anything at one point in time.
Well, Christopher Walken was also in Wayne's World, too.
Exactly.
Well. Yeah.
So at this point, he must have just been like, whatever came across his desk, yes, like we need money, let's do it. Because he plays the exterminator in this movie. And It's just so weird to see him doing shit like this. But anyway, so the special features on this include an audio commentary by Hats Off Entertainment's Joe Ramone from the cutting room floor, which is deleted scenes and theatrical teasers and trailers. Like I said, this is an HDR Dolby Vision master from Paramount Pictures with a 4K scan of the original. It'll never look any better than this. If you ever
Who's
wanted to
hunting
mouse
who?
hunt,
Yeah.
yep.
I remember the Lee Evans guy from only like one other movie, and I think he was in. You remember that Kurt Russell movie Breakdown?
Yeah.
I think he was in that. I remember him in that. Yeah.
I think wasn't he also in There's Something About Mary?
He may have been. It's been a long time since I've seen that.
Yeah, he was. It says There's Something About Mary's Lee Evans. He plays the guy that's like I think
Going
he's supposed
after
to be
Mary at
British.
first or whatever.
Yeah,
But
he's like British, but he's like got the crutches and everything. And it ends up that he's not really on crutches. He's just like a pizza delivery guy by the end of it.
it's odd that you mentioned the Farley brothers, though, because that's the next movie that I was going to talk about on here. And this was one, man, that I had not seen. I had not seen it in so long. I pretty much completely forgot about most of it. And I always loved this movie. Like, you know, the Farley brothers, what else they do? Dumb and Dumber, I think, was like their first big breakout hit. And this was like the follow-up. So this one's from 1996. And I didn't have this on anything. I don't think I'd ever bought it on anything like DVD or Blu-ray or anything. And I don't think that this one did very well at the theaters, but it was one of those movies that was a gigantic success at video stores. And everybody in high school was talking about how just wacky and out there this movie was. And the three leads do a great job as well together. And this was back when they were letting Randy Quaid actually be in mainstream movies. I miss Randy Quaid. I always thought he was like pretty much everything that he was in I kind of liked, I got to be honest, except Cousin Eddie's Island Adventure. That one was no good.
No, I mean, he really did bring something to every role that he was in. He was great in that movie. He was great in the Vacation movie. He's been great in just about everything.
Yeah. Yeah, and, you know, Woody Harrelson's one of those guys that you can either take him or leave him. I mean, to me, like, some of his stuff I really like, and, you know, some of it, I think he does as good as Woody Harrelson has ever done in this movie, though. He's playing Roy Munson, who is a local bowling legend, right? From a very young age, his dad teaches him how to bowl, and years go by. There's one night in the late 70s, he and his good friend Ernie McCracken, who's another local bowling guy, played by Bill Murray, who's great in this too, by the way. He's great in he's another guy that's great in everything. But yeah, they have a little gambling match with some people and cheat them out of money, a bowling match, and the guys are not very happy about it. Roy loses his bowling hand. And from that point on, he lost his purpose in life. And fast forward to present day, I guess this was 1996 when this movie was made. And Roy's lost all of his hair. He has no real will to live or anything. He's working, stocking these bowling alleys in his area with just trinkets and condoms and glow-in-the-dark tampons or whatever the hell they sell. And while he's in the bowling alley, though, he witnesses Randy Quaid's character, Ishmael. He's part of the local Amish community, and he's a natural. He's another one that was like Roy was when he was a young age. He's a natural bowler, and he tries to talk Ishmael into going on the road, and they can go and make money together, and he could be his manager and all this. And as is a lot of movies around this time period, of course, Ishmael at first is like, no, my family would never allow it. They have strict rules and everything. You know, we got to get up and milk the cows and feed the chickens or whatever the hell the Amish people do, of course. until he finds out, Ishmael finds out that the family is in danger of losing the farm and they need a big amount of cash to save it. So now he has reason to go on the road. I think the final showdown is in Reno, Nevada at this bowling tournament, which of course Ernie McCracken is there as well. So it's a road movie. Along the way, they pick up Vanessa Angel, who, Jesus Christ, this is another girl around that time period. Woo, God, Lord. And it's another kind of slapstick, stupid Farley Brothers type comedy, road movie. And it all holds up, man. Some of it may not be as PC nowadays because everybody's offended by fucking anything.
True.
People are just so uptight. Like, people gasp if somebody cracks a fart or something anymore. You can't even do that.
Oh,
How
dare you, son of a bitch.
But it'd been many years since I've seen this. I still love this movie. Like, as far as just like fun, stupid 90s comedies, this is right up there, man. Like, to me, I mean, Dumb and Dumber's a classic and everything, but like that movie, I've seen it enough. I never really want to watch it again. Like, it's too much over the years. But this one's still got some mileage left in it, I think. And transfer on this, really good. I mean, honestly, like, for me, 4K movies are more for like action or horror and stuff like that. So I don't really know what to think about comedy movies in 4K. If it's a movie that I don't own on anything, especially if I don't even own it on like a Blu-ray, I would probably go for the 4K. What do you think about comedies in 4K though?
I've never really understood the point of that, but I mean, if you're really a big fan of the movie, then I can understand. I guess like if it's one of your favorite movies, Kingpin's always been one of those movies where like I do love that movie. I think it's great. I don't know if I like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know if I even own it. I don't know if I would own it per se, but it's like you said, Bill Murray basically steals the show, the entire movie.
Yep.
But the scene the person that steals the movie in terms of the scene, in my opinion, is fucking Lin Shaye. And that scene I'll fucking never forget that.
Oh yeah. When he's about to be kicked out and she's like, she's always played an old fucking woman too. Like,
yeah.
She's still around playing old woman, but yeah.
Been playing old woman since 1984.
She has like brown teeth in this and is like a chain smoker. Yeah.
And she's sitting on the toilet and she has some line or something. It's like, what is it about good sex? Makes you have to take a shit.
Right.
But then she does the thing, you know, where she's like, you better come up with the other $100 or something or get ready. And she's like,
there was right. And there was also the scene too. And you could never have this in a movie nowadays where, you know, where Woody Harrelson is pretending to be an Amish like farmer or whatever.
Yeah,
and he has the beard and everything. And he gets up on the one morning and said that he's been milking the cows or whatever. And he's like, this milk is really thick, right? And he's been drinking it, right? They said there are no cows out there. That was a bull.
Yeah. Yeah.
He was like, you know, you can't really do shit like that.
No,
nowadays.
you can't do any of that now.
You got cum all over his face and they just, you know,
sadly
no sold it.
It's a great movie though. Like, it's a classic, underrated comedy, really. Like when it came out,
I think so. Yeah.
It gained a lot of traction when people found it on like, you know, home video and stuff like that. But I don't think that it was like huge right when it first came out. Because I don't think people.
It made a profit, but not much of a profit, really.
Well, people didn't know what to make out of it, I don't think, because like it doesn't end well. I mean, like the bad guy wins in the end, and like he pretty much wins throughout the movie. And I guess like there is like a little bit of, you know, he gets the endorsement contract or whatever. But like, you know, I don't think people knew what to make out of a film at that time, especially where like it didn't play through that like the good guy prevails and like all of the stuff like works out, because that didn't really happen in that movie at all.
Yeah, the cast in this though works great together. And I've always been a fan of like the Farley Brothers stuff around this time period. Of course, shortly after this is There's Something About Mary, which is another one of my all-time favorites. And it's weird because like this movie and There's Something About Mary very rarely get discussed anymore.
Well, people suck nowadays, though. That's why they don't get discussed, because people like want to act like that time period of movies never even happened most of the time.
And what's funny is, it takes me to the cum scene and There's Something About Mary. Yeah. That was a TV spot. That was on TV.
Yes.
In 98 or 99, whenever that movie came out. So that'll just tell you how much times have changed, especially, everybody's so uptight. Stuff that was hilarious in 1998 is offensive in 2025. It's unfortunate.
Like all those movies, if you think back, and they would never be able to do these movies now, but like that one and Me, Myself, and Irene with Jim Carrey, and like There's Something About Mary, like you never be able to make those movies. People just don't. Think about some of the shit that's in those movies. Like Me, Myself, and Irene, like making fun of like all that shit in mental health.
And he's sucking on that woman's titties for like 5 minutes or whatever in that movie.
And then, like, they've got the character in There's Something About Mary that's like the brother. Ain't never gonna fucking be able to do that now at all.
Right.
Like, they would never even try.
No,
so, yeah, I don't even think people make comedies anymore because you can't do them. Like, there's nothing you can laugh at anymore and not people get offended about. So, they just quit doing it.
But this one is out now. Recently came out from Kino Lorber Studio Classics. Kingpin from 1996. There's a couple of different audio commentaries on this. There's 2 different cuts of the movie on this too. There's an extended cut and a theatrical cut. Theatrical cut's in 4K. The extended cut is on Blu-ray. The extended cut has a commentary from the Farley Brothers, and there is journalists and authors Brian Reisman and Max Avery for the theatrical cut. King plus extra frames with the Farley Brothers featurette, theatrical trailers, TV spots, all that good stuff. And the cool thing about these is they always have the original. To me, that's like classic artwork. So they don't try to shortchange you with these stupid AI created artwork images or people fucking altering a photo. It looks like dog shit. That's a big trend nowadays.
Yeah.
But, yeah, that's Kingpin. And to follow that up, and I think this ends our comedies, right? And this is another one that you and I think, watched over and over and over and over again. And you're a big fan of Tom Green. And Tom Green's career in mainstream films was pretty interesting. And this was right in this is in the thick of it, man. In the year 2000. And the director is Todd Phillips, who I think this was his feature-length film debut as a director. And we're taking a look now at Road Trip. Dude, like there were a handful of these comedies that, do you remember DirecTV back in the day? They had the Zapped card or whatever.
Yep.
And they would have these movies on, like, it's not like today when it's like on demand. It just starts whenever you buy it, right? The channels back then were just movie channels that were streaming these movies nonstop, right? You could buy it for 3:00, but at 3:00 you would have the rest of the damn day to watch it. Like it plays over and over and over. So this was one of those movies, Road Trip, and probably one of my favorite subgenres in any sort of genre of movies is the road trip movie, right? If it's a horror movie, if it's like a sci-fi movie, Terminator 2 is a road trip movie, kind of.
Yeah, it is.
Phantasm 2 road trip movie. I mean, there's plenty of them back in the day. But yeah, this is a straight up comedy, American Pie was really popular I think it was 99 is when that one came out. So they tried to make the comedies as close to those as possible at the time. And that's really what you got here with Road Trip. Breckenmeyer's character in this, Josh, has been dating his longtime girlfriend. They're separated in colleges now in different states, but they've been together since they were kids pretty much. And he hadn't heard from her in a while. He's getting pretty pissed off, right? And he sees this new girl, Amy Smart, who, back then, goddamn, was, that's another one. Whew. Maybe not so much now, but I think her character was like Emily or something like that in this. I don't remember, but anyway, they kind of hook up one night at a party and decide to record it on videotape. And he accidentally ships it to his girlfriend in fucking Texas across the country.
Mm-hmm.
So this sets up the movie. It's a road trip movie. All their friends kind of go on the trip, aside from Tom Green. He kind of has his own sub story. But you've got E.L., who's Sean William Scott, who's pretty much Stifler in this movie, too. Like, they didn't change his character at all.
No.
You got Ruben, played by Paulo Costanzo. He's kind of like the smart guy. That's... I think he's big into weed and, science and shit like that. Tom Green's character is Barry. Amy Smart's Beth. So that was her name. What did I say? Lori or something like that. But anyway, the star of the whole movie and what really holds this movie together is a complete unknown. DJ Qualls is the actor's name that plays Kyle. He's right in the center there with the helmet on. And he's like the little nerdy guy that's shy and is afraid to get in trouble with his, don't want to get in trouble with his dad and always wants to do the right thing and everything. And, the back and forth with him and Sean William Scott's character's great. And just the stuff that happens to him makes the entire movie, in my opinion. But yeah, they go off to Texas to try to stop, Tiffany is his girlfriend's name, from seeing the tape, and hilarity ensues from there going across the country. They go to, they try to get a free night at a fraternity, and it's a black fraternity. And that leads to Kyle getting pussy for the first time. And it's this big, beautiful black queen, the whole pancake scene, or no, what was it? It was French toast with Horatio Sands. That was on the TV spot for Road Trip as well. Do you remember that back in the day?
Was it?
I think it was. I'm pretty sure it was. But yeah, just nonstop, it's that American Pie kind of comedy, really. But I like this movie better than American Pie, I gotta be honest.
Well, here's my problem with this movie, man.
You got a problem with this movie? You
No,
got
I
a
don't.
problem with me, man.
I don't have a problem with the movie per se, but like I always get this and Euro Trip confused in my head because they're basically the same fucking movie. Like,
I'm pretty sure this one came first.
I'm sure it did, but if you look at the cover of Road Trip and Euro Trip, they're designed exactly the same. The cast is like almost exactly the same, like in terms of like the way that they look. So I'm always forevermore getting those two movies like mixed up. The only one thing that I remember clearly from this movie, aside from like you mentioning the character, like the nerdy character, I do remember that, is Tom Green and his obsession with the fucking snake that's in his room.
The mouse that he sticks in his mouth and shit.
Yeah. I mean,
there's no faking that.
That was just the kind of stuff he was doing at that time. Like, that's such a weird period of history for like that type of comedy or whatever he was doing, because it was so bizarre that I don't think anybody's replicated it even to this day. The stuff that he was doing around that time and the stuff that he even did.
And that's all he did. Like, I was never a huge Tom Green fan. This is like the one thing that he did that I really liked that he was a part of. But yeah, man, his form of comedy had a very short shelf life. Like, that did not last long at all. It's like maximum, 2 years maybe, and then he was pretty much gone.
2 or 3 years. It got really big and then just like was gone as quick as it came. But the movie itself, I remember liking it. It's been forever since I've seen like that movie, but
It really this movie takes me back though when we were, I'll showcase it here, when we were, just starting college as well. So it really brings me back to that time frame, the late 90s, early 2000s, and the fashion and the stuff that people were into then, the music and all that. So it's one of them that takes me back to that time period. And it's weird that, this movie's 25 years old. I mean, that's just insane to think of. But this is another comedy that's one of my all-time favorites. A lot of stuff probably hasn't aged well for some people, but fuck those people, right? That's what I'm saying.
right.
The 4K in this, again, this looks great. It's probably as good as this movie will ever look. But it's about the movie with these comedy movies, in my opinion. But they did load it up with some special features on this. This does include theatrical cut and the unrated cut. Now they did this just like they did the Kingpin release. The 4K has the theatrical cut and the Blu-ray has the unrated version. And there's audio commentary with Hats Off Entertainment's Joe Ramori and Ever Been Seen on a Road Trip behind the scenes featurette, Ill's music video, Mr. E's Beautiful Blues, Roadkill deleted scenes, and a theatrical trailer. So, man, this one's out now. And I think Kino does have a sale going on right now. I don't know how many of these movies are included on that sale, but definitely check these out. They do a great job, Kino Lorber. These have all been part of their Studio Classics line, boss.
Yeah, I miss that time period of movies though, man. That'll never come back with those comedies of the 2000s, late 90s and early 2000s. There was a bunch of college, American Pie rip-off movies, road trip movies, crass, vulgar, toilet humor kind of movies that were just funny, one-liner, driven, weird scenario driven kind of movies like that will never come back around again.
Unfortunately not, yeah, because people can't laugh anymore.
No, we're not allowed.
Everybody's pissed
You
off.
have to be a good person. That's the main thing. You just be a good person. And
that wasn't funny. That was racist.
we're good people here. We respect everything and everyone.
But yeah, a lot of fun to go back and look at some stuff that we normally don't review. And Kino, they're one of my favorite companies, honestly. I love here's the thing about Kino too. And I know we've probably said this before, but for what they give you in the product with the remastered transfers, there are always some form of extras on there as well. The price on these 4Ks, I know that the 4Ks during the sale is $18 or something like that. You can't beat that.
No, that's amazing in and of itself. So is that all the comedies though?
I think that all the comedies, so that's the end of laughter.
So does anyone
We're going to
remember
get super
Laughter?
serious now, boys.
It doesn't get any more serious than this. Let me fucking tell you right now, because this is very British.
Hello.
The next movie is 1979's Murder by Decree.
It's Murder by Decree, it is.
It's got Christopher Plummer in it. It don't get any more
That's a
British than
weird-
Christopher Plummer.
I'm confused by the release too, because I should ask the guy at Kino. They did a 4K of that, but it's been a few months ago, and they're re-releasing. I don't know. Maybe there's some new special features that they're releasing.
No, they sold out of the 4K because of Christopher Plummer.
Christopher Plummer.
It's also got James Mason and Donald Sutherland.
Donald Sutherland, Christopher Plummer,
Oh,
Donald Pleasance.
Oh, tea and crumpets. So it's actually a really good movie. And what's really bizarre about it to me is I'd never heard of this movie. I you would think I would have heard of it because it's directed by Bob Clark, who directed like Porky's and A Christmas Story and Black Christmas and a lot of like
Now, this was a weird time too. This was like the late '70s. So was
yeah.
this his follow up from Black Christmas?
Oh, let's see. Black Christmas was in
74, late 74.
Yeah, so I guess it would have been. No, okay. So I just looked it up. So you had Death Dream and Black Christmas were both made in 70 or both released in 74. That's crazy, man. He released both of those movies in 1974.
Wow. Okay.
And then 76 was a movie called Breaking Point, which I have not seen. And then 79 was Murder by Decree. So, and it wasn't 2 years later he did Porky's, and then that was huge. And then 2 years after that, he did A Christmas Story. That was huge. Sadly, he did Rhinestone in 84, which killed his career, I'm pretty sure.
Baby Geniuses too.
Yeah, well, right, yeah. Rhinestone, and then he had like a 10-year gap where he really didn't do much of anything, and then he did Baby Geniuses and
something else too. Porky's don't exist.
what do you mean Porky's don't exist?
We can't talk about that movie.
Oh yeah. I want to talk about Porky's.
That's a movie that probably won't get a re-release.
That's a movie, you're right, that is probably the height of shit that nobody will deal with today.
Yeah.
Or movies like that. Like,
but anyway.
yeah.
I'd never really heard too much about this movie either, though, the Murder by Decree film by Bob Clark. So
well, it's actually got a really, really cool plot, which is it's a Sherlock Holmes murder mystery about Jack the Ripper. So Christopher Plummer plays Sherlock Holmes and James Mason plays Dr. Watson. And it's based on, I think it's actually based on a book that was written called Jack the Ripper, The Final Solution, which is the premise of the movie basically is that Holmes and Watson are trying to find out who find out who Jack the Ripper is. And each step of the way, they keep getting met by resistance by the local police and the local like government officials and things like that. Until you find out, of course, that there's a huge conspiracy Masonic plot to hide the real identity of Jack the Ripper because it is one of the elite members of that society at that time. And that's possible. Actually, that's one of the theories that was floated around for a long time about who Jack the Ripper really was, is that he was like a really...
It's a conspiracy theory.
Yeah, he's supposed to be a really high-ranking member of these societies at that time, and they didn't want to kind of give away who it was, so they protected him. I don't know what the latest theory on who the hell Jack the Ripper... There seems to be one that comes out every year now, where somebody's
nobody gonna find out who the fuck that was. That was like 200 years ago or whatever.
But there's always somebody that's like, I've got it. I've got the DNA. And it's all just like a bunch of bullshit usually. But yeah, so it shot very much like really good, like costume design, set design, things like that. Looks very real to that time period, which I was amazed with because I had never really like I said, heard of this movie. But you can tell it's got some sort of a budget, and it's shot really, really well.
That's Bob Clark, man. You know what he was
I don't
doing.
know how much money it made, if it did very well or anything like that, but it's a really well-made film with some really good acting and a solid kind of murder mystery plot centered around Jack the Ripper. I mean, like, what do you want?
Do you think it was too British to be that big of a success in the United States?
Well, it's Canadian. It's Canadian and British, so that might be the problem.
It's got all British people in it, though,
yeah,
right? So
that might be the problem,
British.
though. You got like two things that got Canadians and British, so who knows? Those two things don't generally mix. But Christopher Plummer's great in it as Holmes, Sherlock Holmes. Um, yeah, I mean, I don't understand why this movie wasn't more well known or a bigger hit. I always liked movies like this too, for some reason. I always like murder mystery movies like this that came out. They didn't do a bunch of them in the 80s or anything like that. That was more of like a 60s and 70s kind of thing. But
That was the thing that was so interesting, though, about Bob Clark's career is he really took a stab at pretty much every genre he tried to, right? So, had a lot of success in comedies and horror, and this is like a murder suspense movie. He tried to do a romance sort of movie with Rhinestone. I don't, like you said, I don't know if that one worked out very
yeah,
well for him, but at least there's not too many directors. They try to usually stick within the genre, like a certain genre, but he was kind of all over the place. So it's always interesting to check out a movie of his that you'd never seen before, I'm sure.
yeah, I always love watching anything that he does because he was just really great. Um, and he always seemed to kind of be able to pull together a movie, no matter what subgenre he was in or anything like that. Um, yeah, I don't know how many people out there like are into these kind of movies, but I really enjoyed it. It's a good old fashioned British murder mystery. It is
Sherlock Holmes.
Sherlock. Audio commentary by Bob Clark is on here. Audio commentary by film historian Howard S. Berger and Steve Mitchell, and then the theatrical trailer. Like those are the main kind of special features that are on here. This is the Blu-ray. Like you said, I'm not sure why we don't have the 4K, but it is a 4K scan of the 35 millimeter original camera negative. And that is one thing I noticed about this movie is that it looks sharp as hell. Like cinematography in it is great, which makes it like stand out even more when you watch it. I always liked it too when like directors are able to capture a time period pretty well and like it doesn't look like a cheap TV movie. And he does a really good job of that in this too.
Very cool. So yeah, it's out both on Blu-ray and 4K from Bob Clark. Murder by Decree. And we got a couple more movies to get to. This next one is from our good friends over at Arrow Video. And the interesting thing is, this is on the verge of completely selling out already. So I definitely wanted to mention that. Of course, with the Arrow films, we just have the check disc. So I'm going to throw up the artwork. I'm not going to throw up on myself, but the artwork is going to be on the screen. But this is an interesting one because I always kind of respected this movie, but I never liked it. And I still kind of feel the same way after rewatching it. But this was, the director's name's Alex Proyas. It's his follow-up to The Crow. He was the director of The Crow, which was a massive success in like 94, 95. And he made this weird as fuck, like fever dream of a movie in 1998 called Dark City. And had you seen this one before, Uncle Bill?
I've never seen this, so I'm curious to see what you say about it.
I would actually be interested in hearing what you think about it too, because it's very like stylized, and I'm sure that visually they worked on this movie a long, long, long time. It's very much like a precursor almost to The Matrix. I think this was like a year before The Matrix came out. But anyway, the lead role in this is played by Rufus Sewell, who he's got a very odd career too. I don't think his career ever really took off, but he's the star of this, the lead in this, plays John Murdoch, who the movie starts, he awakens with a phone call. He's in a bathtub in a hotel room. There's a dead body in the room. Kiefer Sutherland's character is calling him and is like, hey, they're looking for you. They're going to be there in 5 minutes. Get out of there, right? And So he don't know what's going on, who that is, where he's at, who that dead body, who that person was that's dead in his room. He don't know anything. And you as audience member don't know anything either. You're like, what the fuck is he? What? Huh? What's going on, y'all? And soon thereafter, and this movie has got, you don't really know what time frame it is either. It's shot like a film noir style, like the cars and everything look like they're from the 30s and 40s. Very like stylized, like I think on IMDb they have this listed as a neo crime noir movie, right? So if you don't like I'm not a big fan of film noir movies. I just think they're really like overly artsy and pretentious and everything, but they're very well made. I mean, I'll give them credit, like the cinematography and all that. And this is the same way here. This is a modern film noir movie, but anyway, from that point on, we meet this group that kind of runs the city called, they're only credited as the Strangers, right? And this was long before that shitty movie, The Strangers. They basically look like Cenobites with like Pinhead without the pins. Like they're, another thing that's a fun tidbit. Do you remember the Dustin Rhodes character Seven in WCW?
Yeah, of course.
So they were totally ripping off the characters in Dark City for that character. So like these guys with these hats and the white faces and all black leather and everything, they kind of float to where they're going, right?
That's funny. Poor old Dustin Rhodes.
That was bad. That was not good. But anyway, at the same time, what John was running from was local authorities headed by Frank Bernstead, played by John Hurt, which is an interesting choice. And he is investigating John as a possible serial killer in the city. And John and eventually Frank, the cop, they're questioning what the hell is going on in the city. People's memories are like, they're like, where were you at in a certain, people's memories are going. So and this is such a hard movie to explain too. He finds out that these Cenobite looking characters, the Strangers, are siphoning the memories of everyone in the city and kind of fucking around with everybody, right? So one day, like, you could be me, I could be you, right? Our memories. So it's a weird freaking movie. I think that they were onto something with the idea of this movie and the concept and everything, but it's very freaking confusing. And there is kind of a surprise ending at the end that's not, I mean, it was supposed to be a twist ending, kind of, but it's not. It's like, oh, okay, that's what's going on, right? And also the Dark City it lives up to its name. There's no daylight in this movie at all. This city stays dark 24/7. So all the goth kids hang out there, the Cenobites.
Makes sense. Cenobites.
Jennifer Connelly is also in this too, playing John's supposed wife. She thinks that she's his wife, but they don't really know each other. It's kind of weird. But great. Here's the thing. I want to super put over the transfer on this 4K. So this is demo quality here. So this was made in 98. I'm guessing it was shot primarily on film. They were using sound stages and models and everything. The transfer on this is amazing. It looks phenomenal. And from what I'm being told, the stock that is out there now, if there's any left online, that is it. This limited edition is sold out. Otherwise, I'm sure they'll do a standard edition. But just for the transfer itself, and if you're into very weird sci-fi movies, which this is more of a sci-fi than it is a horror movie, I guess, You'll want definitely a high recommendation to check this out. And the transfer is phenomenal on it.
Well,
And it's
I'll probably have to buy it now.
it's
Son of a bitch.
you don't want to have FOMO, boys. You'll be like Garrett. It'll be
buy
a
it.
regret that you'll never forget.
You'll live your whole life, get to your deathbed, and be like, "Oh, I never picked up that copy of Dark City."
But yeah, brand new 4K restoration from the 35 millimeter camera negatives, boys, the originals. And it does come with the limited edition, comes with the 60-page perfectly bound. I don't know what that means, but it's perfectly bound book.
Perfectly bound.
That's what it says.
How about
Double-sided.
shittily bound? I want the shitty bound one.
There's a double-sided fold-out poster on it. There is a director's cut that's on disc 1 and a theatrical cut that's on disc 2. And if I'm not mistaken, let me double check. So yeah, interesting thing, right? Arrow has both discs in 4K. So both the theatrical and the unrated are mastered in 4K. There is a total of, Jesus Christ, on the director's cut, there is a total of 4 different audio commentary tracks.
Damn.
One they have as a commentary with Roger Ebert, for which must have been done many years ago because he's been gone a long time. Return to Dark City, a new hour-long documentary featuring interviews with the cast and crew. Return in a Maze, a new visual essay with film scholar Alexander West. I'm as much as the dark as you are, a new visual essay, which we love those visual essays. It's partially why I won all these editions. Disc 2, the theatrical cut, there is an archival audio commentary track on 2 different audio commentary tracks on it. On that one, Memories of Shell Beach, a 2008 featurette. I guess it was on the Blu-ray. Tons of special features, remastered transfers. Dark City is a very odd movie, but visually stunning, and this 4K is proof of that, boss. Proof.
Sounds great, though. I'll visually come just thinking about it.
You're going to wonder come all over yourself.
Fuck.
It's going to be like somebody spilled a big gallon of milk in the floor of a grocery store.
Old curdled milk.
But, Dark City was one of those movies that I had on DVD and I watched it once before. And I did it's very weird. I appreciate weird. But it's not a movie that you want to rewatch very much. It's just very, I don't know. I think it was missing a little something there, but Arrow did a freaking outstanding job with this edition. So high recommendation from me.
Hell yeah. So I don't got nothing else. It's on you right now until we get to the end. I don't know if we're at
the end.
Well, boys.
Oh man, we got to do an extended review because our boy Taylor requested this.
Get ready for this.
Y'all ready?
Yeah, I'm ready for it. So,
Yeah.
Here's the thing, okay? In all of my time doing this show, 20 years almost now, I don't think that there's ever been a movie that was hyped up so goddamn much and just people, shitting their pants and rolling around in it for a film that's as goddamn bad as this film is.
They were doing backflips in their own shit. Stuntman Mark was one that was. He loves this movie.
Fucking cartwheels in their own diarrhea about this, but don't listen. If you've never seen this movie and you've avoided it, continue to do so because there's no.
Vinegar Syndrome was pissing everybody off about this movie. They sold probably 15,000 copies of them. And they're still wanting to sell more.
Yeah, I can't believe that they essentially ruined their entire reputation for this piece of shit. Because
and I had here's the thing. This is the Vinegar Syndrome edition, but I turned that fucking artwork inside out because that artwork sucks fucking dick. This kind of sucks too, but it's not as bad
It
as,
does. All versions of it suck, really.
yeah. It's got like fucking 6 lines of text on it or 5 lines of text on it. Yo.
I mean, this is a movie I was literally like sitting there watching it, and I was amazed at how damn bad it was. I was just like, I was kind of getting mad, like just all the talk and all the hoopla, and it sold out within like 2 days. And you're watching it, and it's just like, this is just bullshit. Like it's a bunch of jumbled mess that like doesn't hold any. Nothing is being
95
said.
minutes of 95 of the longest minutes of your entire life are in this movie too. Like, and what's interesting is, so Michael Mann is butthurt still to this day. Rumors were that was why that it never come out on any form of. I think the last physical media release of this was 1992 or 93 as a laser disc. All right.
Well, it should have stayed buried in whatever hole that they dug it out of. I mean, I think everybody would be better off if you never had this movie.
What? Yeah, I mean, this is definitely a flawed film for sure. But and a lot of people have said as such, right? But a lot of people were also bragging up, oh, could you imagine? And that's what people were asking about. The director's cut of this, which is 3.5 hours long. Uncle
I think
Bill.
I'd probably hang myself.
Could you imagine?
No.
Yeah. So, I mean, a lot of people were saying that that's why this movie is really like a jumbled mess of a film. You don't really, a lot of stuff doesn't make any sense, comes out of nowhere. But yeah. So do you want to talk about the plot of this?
I don't really want to talk about this movie at all, but I have to. So
We got to. We were paid.
So
our boy. Tell her!
So really it's not that difficult of a film, except it is in a weird way difficult to figure out, but like the main plot of it is not difficult. So this group of Nazis pull up into this village. I believe it's a Romanian village. They pull up into this village, and there's this giant like citadel style kind of like building, and they want to take control of it and use it for like their operations and things like that, and for all their men to stay there. Well, there's clearly something wrong with.
Well, this is during World War II as well. You didn't mention that, right? So
yeah, it's not
40s.
Nazis today. Like Nazis in the 80s coming.
Yeah.
No, this was during that time period. And so they get in there, and the entire rooms are all filled with like these crosses, and they meet up with the guy that kind of is the caretaker for the place, and he's like, all that cryptic bullshit that they do in these movies. He's like, I've always been the caretaker, and my family's been the caretaker, and blah 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 blah. And so they start to try to like remove the crosses, because there's like hundreds of them throughout the entire, but start to try to remove them and use them for like money and things like that. And he's like, you must never remove the crosses and blah blah blah. And
blah, 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 blah.
blah, 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 blah. So
They do, of course.
Of course, they remove the fucking crosses. And one of them gets sucked into it and spit out like in the mangler, except that movie was better.
And then Goro shows up from Mortal Kombat.
Exactly right. Fucking the first Mortal Kombat too. Not like the better fleshed out.
Yeah, the really
version
shitty Goro from like Sega Genesis shows up.
And he's all pissed off about Nazis being in the keep. That's what they call it. Is the building itself is called the keep, right? So like they just keep referring to it as that. And he shows up, and it's one of the most ridiculous things when you finally
Molisaur was his name. That does sound like somebody from fucking Mortal Kombat too.
It probably influenced
Molisaur
somebody in Mortal Kombat. He shows up, tells like one of them that he needs help, basically, to whatever the fuck. I don't know. He needs help.
Gabriel
jerking
Byrne is
himself
a
off.
Nazi in this too.
He
Like,
is, yeah.
Dude, that guy has been in more shitty fucking movies than any other actor, I think.
He's been in a lot, that's for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Very few that I actually like.
I don't know if
that
he's been
in.
in as many as like Jake Gyllenhaal, but he's been in a lot of shitty
He's been in
movies.
a lot of shitty movies, yeah. So yeah, I mean that's kind of the movie, right? I mean, and then it kind of really just doesn't go anywhere. Like
To say that is a real understatement too, like that it doesn't go anywhere. It's just the biggest nothing bullshit. And people are talking about, another thing they always talk about with this movie too is Tangerine Dream, who I love their score for like Sorcerer and movies like that, because the score somehow fits. With this fucking movie, it's like they were watching another movie and just put in that score. Like
a lot of droning, long, like, I don't know. You mentioned Scott Glenn is in this as like a charismatic alien guy.
That's right. He's the glowing-eyed alien guy who tries to stop the
Fucking poor old Scott Glenn.
that's the thing about this movie too, is that nobody looks like they know what in the fuck they're supposed to be doing at any point.
I don't think they did, to be honest with you. Like, and this is one of those movies too, and the only other one that I can think of that's like this is the original Dune movie, where really from the opening like seconds of it, I want to turn it off. Like, I just didn't get into this movie at all.
Well, you can just tell that nobody knew what in the fuck was going on. Like the director didn't know. I don't think he ever knows. But like the actors didn't know what to do. Like the sound people didn't. Like nobody knew what to do on this movie, and it's just a giant clusterfuck of a film. And to come back, how many other 40 years later and just be like, oh, this is a misunderstood classic. No, it fucking ain't. Don't even like try to pull that shit. Like if you had 4 hours of this, I guarantee you it wouldn't be any better. It would just be longer. It'd be like some sort of Chinese water torture or something.
Well, the truth is, like, what I heard is the director himself, Michael Mann, hates this cut of the movie as well. He hates it.
Well, good. That's something we have in common.
He will not talk about it. Again, the original cut of the movie was 3.5 hours long, which I could not. Man,
listen. I pray they find that so people can. I know that ain't gonna be worth a shit. Like I know for a fact, you could have a 12-hour cut of this movie and it ain't gonna make it any better. Like I hope they find it and these nerds can watch it. And like, then they can go around and act like it's good when you know it ain't.
Ian McKellen, has he always been older than fuck?
Yes. He has been old since 1970.
This movie was what, 83? And he still looks almost exactly the same as he looks today. He's like 90 years old.
Yep. He's basically existed in all time.
I'm glad for the fans of this movie, though, that this is finally out so you can watch it and shut up. But man, this, honest to God, like, had I known what this movie was, I would have never, like, I almost didn't buy it anyway. I don't know if you remember this. I didn't buy it during the initial run.
Yeah, I do remember that.
And then somebody talked me into buying it whenever just this standard edition come. I would not have bought it. I'm not kidding, because this is a movie that I'll never rewatch. I mean, Michael Mann visually is a very talented filmmaker. His shit always looks great. And there were shots in this movie that look great, but it's all style and zero substance, like all the rest of his fucking, like, not all of them, but most of his other movies.
Yep. I'll tell you this movie's got like X-Pac heat with me. Like whenever it
Chris
comes
Jericho
on,
heat.
yeah, whenever it comes on, I just automatically want it to go away. Like I'll never watch it again. There's no reason. Why would you ever like torture yourself watching this fucking movie?
Unless like you're out of melatonin or something like that and you want to leave it on in the background and go to sleep.
Yeah, like what is the point? Like you can definitely tell. I'll give him this. This is the one thing I'll give him. This is it. You can definitely tell this movie's been like edited all hell because it doesn't make any sense like whatsoever. I'm not positive it would make any sense if it was like his original like director's cut
Well, it
vision.
might make a little bit more sense, but yeah, you'll be asleep by the time it's over with for sure.
But
3.5 hours long. Give me a break.
for the love of God, man, like I just look back at that, like all the people going crazy about this movie coming out and all the hype. And for what it is, that is just insane to me. That it's insane that you could get tricked that easily. Because I remember, like, oh my God, like thinking, like, so many people say this is a like classic that I've got to get this. Like, clearly, it's going to be something spectacular.
Well, just think, who is it? Imprint has that big box set coming out. It's $200.
I hope people buy it. I really do hope people buy that over the Vinegar Syndrome version.
I mean, yeah, this is pretty awful movie. I don't think our opinions on Michael Mann has changed at all. It just reinforces opinions. But man, like honestly, of the stuff Michael Mann that I've seen, this is probably the worst one. This is like bottom of the barrel. I would watch.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably one of the worst films I've seen in a while. Like, of any films, too. Like, of like even low budget, bottom of the barrel film. Like, this is probably one of the just most unpleasant viewing experiences I've had in a while.
Well, it is important to mention that this was a critical and commercial flop when it came out.
Yep.
So, I mean, of course, over the years, and this happens with a lot of movies, people, I don't know what, like people that like cracking farts and huffing them to their own delight are just like, or they want to champion something that nobody else likes. And this is a case of that. I mean, I can understand visually there's some cool looking stuff in it. The demon in it in certain parts with the glowing red eyes and the, the fog or whatever. I mean, it's got some cool looking shots in it, but other than that,
well, yeah, the problem is it's not good enough to be enjoyable and it's not hokey enough to be fun. So you don't get any enjoyment out of it whatsoever. It's not a B movie, and it's not like a.
Do you think it's a horror movie? I mean, it's labeled as a horror movie on IMDb. I don't think it is.
No, I don't know what the hell it is. It's bad. I mean,
I'd say it's more or less like a fantasy movie or something like that.
Yeah, like I don't know, like a drama, fantasy, like
a fantasy drama by Michael Mann.
Man, from the director of blah blah blah.
But yeah, I mean, I'm glad that we finally got the review out there so people can shut the fuck up about it. But we do appreciate Timmy requesting it. But that's it, man. That is my review. I'm never watching this sumbitch again.
Can we please cut the shit when it comes to Michael Mann at this point? Like, how many of his films do I have to sit through?
Yeah, I'm not motivated to do any more Michael Mann episodes. So if you ballers and shot callers need to quit being so damn mean to us and requesting these Michael Mann movies. If somebody requests Ali, I'm going to fucking go fight them.
That would be the best thing somebody requested.
You know, I think Ali might be worse than The Keep now that I'm thinking about it. Because Ali is like 2.5 hours long.
Yeah, like Ali is like the movie equivalent of NyQuil. It really is.
Let me be quite honest with you here. That is my worst theatrical movie experience ever, was going and sitting through Ali.
When you look back on that now, all the pieces were there, right? You just hadn't really fully formed them. So you had Will Smith, his old trashy ass, Michael Mann in like a 3-hour almost fucking movie.
And fucking Pike will through those seats, that was them old seats that suck dick.
Yep.
Jeez. That was terrible, man. Like, I would almost rather watch the Fog remake twice than rewatch that.
Back in the Shania Twain days.
Yeah, he's playing Shania Twain and Aaron Tippin and Toby Keith back to back to back. But, yeah, guys, I guess that is it for this episode. Dead Pit is watching. It's going to be our only episode for June, it looks like. But we will be back fastly and furiously with some more creamy horror goodness coming up in July. Some stuff from Severin Films, probably some more stuff from Kino and Arrow and all that good stuff. So until next time, you guys need to keep watching and always remember that Dead Pit
Is watching.
I want all these people to click everything they're supposed to click.
You haven't been liking them, you haven't been subscribing to them, you haven't clicked the bell or notification or anything like that.
Folks, why don't you click the like button?
Do you hate us? Do you not want to see us succeed?
Why don't you click the heart button?
Is this something that you have against our particular show?
Why don't you subscribe?
You should click on one of them buttons right now if you want us to continue to bring greatness into your life.
There's all kinds of wonderful shirts over at shop.deadpit.com. Simply the best horror shirts. On TeePublic, there are others, but they all suck. You can get some Dead Pit Radio shirts. You can get Last South on the Left. The Hills Have Eyes. Texas Chainsaw. Oh, wait, you can't say Texas Chainsaw. All kinds of shirts, folks. You're gonna love them. Shop.deadpit.com.
Special thanks goes out to our supporters on Patreon. You know what kind of stuff you can get on Patreon, Uncle Bill, starting at only $1 a month?
What's that?
Access to every Dead Pit show since 2005. We got almost 200 fan commentaries that we've done over the decades.
Here's what other fucking Patreons do. They're like, hey, give us money and then we'll let you see a video early that we're going to release like a fucking week from now, and then that's all we're going to give you. Meanwhile, we have a literal jukebox full of songs, thousands of reviews. I don't even know how many shows are up on there now that we've done over the years.
Hundreds of thousands.
You need to figure this out now and subscribe to us on Patreon and YouTube and Instagram and help us to 1 million. The road to 1 million subscribers starts today.
So deadpitonpatreon.com. Join today. Tiers start at only $1, but I'd recommend at least the $10 tier.
You can do 50. The stock market's crashing around us, folks, but send us money.